Doing slow reps with emphasis on time and retention is generally overrated. What matters most is adequate volume paired with high quality sets that are taken close to or directly at failure. Rep speed itself doesn't really matter that much, which seems to be consistent with the evidence. When all variables have been properly equated for, the net hypertrophy gain is pretty much exactly the same. That said, we can't live in black and white thinking. When talking about calisthenics, in which we're not adding weights, simply trying to manipulate our body leverages to increase the difficulty of the sets and the movement, control can make all the difference. And in this video, I'm gonna make a strong case for why you shouldn't necessarily do the fastest tempo every single time. Let me ask you a question. How many of you can do over 50 push-ups in a single set? Probably a lot of you. It's not too difficult after a couple months of training for it, right? And so when trying to build muscle, what's typically the next step? Do harder variations like decline push-ups, diamond, pseudo planche. We try to lower the repetitions by changing the way we do the movement. And that makes us more so resemble traditional bodybuilding programs. We're getting more efficient with the training. So with these facts in mind, what happens when we mix tempo into the equation? By which we're not doing super slow repetitions. That doesn't seem to be superior in any type of way, by the way. But what happens when we stop doing this and instead introduce a simple control element in which pauses are also mixed in at the bottom and the top? Momentum is 100% cut out. What you'll find is that most of you will not be able to do 50 push-ups. And if you don't believe me, I challenge you right now to do the Royal Marines fitness test. It's not even slow reps, but you're not banging it out with maximum speed. Could you complete it? I'm gonna do a poll after. I wanna hear your feedback. And what about the back? Same thing, but with pull-ups. Actually, this is even more control. So I would encourage you to try that out, even if you're strong or decently good at weighted pull-ups. For all of you that can do around 45 pounds for reps, try doing the Royal Marine pull-up test. Just body weight now. You tell me how it goes. You're not gonna be limited by fatigue because you're coming in fresh. What you'll find is that you're a lot weaker than you thought. It's like what we see with people who do kipping pull-ups or sloppy muscle-ups. A lot of people can get over the bar when they use that cheap form, but now you tell them to do a slow and controlled muscle-up. Why is it so hard all of a sudden? So there is a difference with bodyweight training specifically. It makes basic movements that much more difficult. If you were supposed to do 3 sets of 20, maybe now it's 3 sets of 12. If you were supposed to up a progression, that's not gonna happen right away. What you're essentially doing is extending the duration of how long it takes to get from one style to the next. You can call it slow motion, but I just see it as a longer route. And there's really nothing wrong with that. What I'm suggesting right now is gonna get you equally jacked and arguably having cleaner form at the same time. Because another factor with these extremely high reps is that it leads to excessive fatigue. And what do we know about muscular fatigue? For one, there's an endurance component to it. So you're actually building a lot more work capacity and conditioning than you think, not just pure muscle mass. But the second factor, which is arguably the most important, is compromising form. Show me anyone that does 100 fast push-ups, and I'll pretty much guarantee that after the 50% point, the reps don't look as good as the first. Very few people can maintain perfection all the way through. Probably the only exception I can possibly think of would be Iron Wolf. But he is an absolute freak of bodyweight training. He's been doing this for well over a decade, and that's a specialty. I'm not on that level, and I'd say 95% of you probably aren't either, and maybe never will be if I'm keeping it real, because that's a completely different level of fitness. So given this understanding that the majority are going to have compromised form, why not clean things up to their highest potential? If you get close to failure, you're replicating perfect form every single time, you won't need as many repetitions to get the job done. And you probably won't have to go weighted on certain variations right now. Try doing this on ring dips. You'll notice you're swinging less. You won't have to wear vests. If the quality itself looks better over time, even though you're not upping the weight, guess what? You still got stronger. And I promise you that if you go back to the regular way, it'll be that much easier. And like I said, you can always mix in both, which is what I personally do. So that's really about it. Simple video, but I know that when you start doing this on the most basic of basic variations, your reps are gonna drop so fast that you'll be like, wow, why didn't I give calisthenics another shot when there was so much more for me to unlock? Just saying, after one workout, you'll see that you probably didn't have to run an advanced program right off the bat. Could have done the same thing just by controlling the movements. So enjoy the gains. Let me know how this goes long term, and I'll talk to you all next time.